Well, it'll be the end of season one for the Bullring Bandits after tonight's championship night for the King Division. Let's take a look at how we got here. So, the King Division is a 16 race regular season format where the tracks that are raced are randomly selected each week by wheel spin. Drivers then prepare their custom setups to do competition at these tracks so that they can earn these points. And if you get a heat win, you get 2 bonus points. Second and third get 1 each. And then, of course, the A mains where all the points are really handed out. 20 points for winning the race, 18 for second, and then 1 point back for every position after that. So you want to get those regular season points so that you can start up higher in the field for the Race of Champions. That lineup is determined by the end of the regular season standings. But also what's important are these things right here, the champion points. You get 1 for winning a race, and you want to get as many as you can throughout the season so that you can maybe win the championship. These champion points are what determines the champion for our season. And so let's take a look here at what champion points are and explain that a little bit more. They're similar to playoff points. You need to earn at least 1 champion point to be eligible to race in the season championship race. Every time, again, that you win an A-main race, the driver gets a champion point. Also, there's an opportunity to win an extra champion point for races that you complete the back row challenge. The back row challenge is offered to the previous race winner for a chance to start last and then work their way through the field. If they can win again, they get a point for winning the race plus their champion point for completing the back row challenge. At the end of the season, you can also earn additional champion points. Anybody that wins at least 1 race throughout the season will get an extra champion point added to their total. And then for every 150 regular season points that a racer earns, they'll get them another champion point. And sometimes that's how you advance into the Race of Champions, just by scoring enough regular season points. Now, the Kings Division is a fun, playful division at times where there's always some really interesting thing at play. Throughout the season, we've had a couple of challenges provided. They're the King's Bounty and the King's Cash In for this season. King's Bounty was a race that anybody could beat Toxic, the only Toxic, in an A-main race first. They would win the same amount of champion points that he had already earned at the time. And so this challenge was set out because he was so dominant early on that he won the first 2 races back to back. Somebody did win Bounty. That would be Hammer. Hammer ended up winning the 3rd race of the season and earning those extra champion points, which really helped him in the standings. King's Cash In was a night where drivers had 2 races to go in one night, and if they'd win both races, they would earn an extra champion point in addition to the points that they would have earned through the existing rules that we explained there on the left. Also, anyone that won all 4 King races that week would earn an additional point as well. However, nobody cashed in that race. That just shows you how competitive this season has been and these drivers are. And so I'm expecting tonight's race to be very competitive and fun. So let's take a look at our top 11 in the regular season standings and kind of show you how they ended up in the Race of Champions. And so on top of the King Division is the King himself. 1 win this season at Mesa View. That got him 1 champion point. Plus, he got an additional champion point at the end of the season because he won at least 1 race. And 290 points is over 150. Not quite 300, though. So an extra champion point there for a total of 3 champion points. Starting on the pole tonight at Baxterville, what does he have for this field of competitive drivers? A close battle all season, and closing in towards the end was Rocket Fan. He's got 2nd in the standings, 3 wins this season. So that's 3 champion points, plus at least 150 points for an extra champion point, and having a win before the end of the season brings his total to 5 champion points. Very similar story. High Side Mike, 3 wins, at least 150, and bumps him up to 5 champion points. Big Cajun, no wins, but 170 points earns him at least 1 champion point. That wins his way into the Race of Champions automatically. Doesn't have to race through the shootout. Same thing for Flying Hillbilly. 167 is enough to get into the Race of Champions with 1 champion point. Pop Rivet, 5 points short of advancing straight into the Race of Champions. However, he will start pole in the RoC shootout for the last chance for this last position to race for the championship. Good season for Pop Rivet in the King Division. 2 wins for the Only Toxic. One of those wins, he completed the back row challenge, and then because he had at least 1 win by the end of the season, brings his total to 4 champion points. TNT just shy of the cutoff. He's going to have to race in, as well as Father of Many, who joined late in the season, putting up a nice score there in the 6 races. So looking for him to be very competitive as well tonight in the RoC shootout. Hammer with a win. That win was the King's Bounty, so that's why his point total is so high. He got 3 champion points that night, plus his extra champion point for winning at least 1 race this season gets him to a total of 5. And then Big Nick joining very late, 4 starts. 2 of those starts were wins. None of them were back row challenges, though. And of course, not enough points with such small amount of starts, but he will advance into the Race of Champions with 3 champion points. And then we have 1 champion point left for grabs by the drivers in the RoC shootout, and that person who wins will get a champion point and race in the Race of Champions tonight. So what's interesting is we've got some drivers that are very close in champion points. This is going to be a tough race, and anybody could end up coming out of this race as the champion. You almost have to win to guarantee yourself a chance to win the race. But here on the right is our list of drivers that can work their way into the Race of Champions and earn their first champion point of the season. Starting pole is Pop Rivet. Second is TNT. Third, Father of Many. Again, this starting position is determined by the total number of regular season points earned throughout the season. Fourth is Field Filler. Fifth will be Aeolus. Sixth, Holloway. Seventh, Little Jet. Eighth is Avery. Ninth will be Friday Night. 10th, there's a spot there for Champ. 11th, Easy Money. 12th will be O-Dog, and 13th on the field will be Coach Jimmy. And so all 13 of these drivers could eventually be in the Race of Champions. The RoC shootout starts at 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight. 50% race at Baxterville. And then at 10 p.m. tonight will be the 100% Race of Champions at Baxterville. And so here's how the points are awarded tonight. No points for heats. There won't be any heats. There won't be a B main, so no points available for that. All points in the A main are champion points. So a race winner will get 20 champion points plus an additional champion point for winning the race. That will give them a 3-point gap on whoever finishes second. So again, all these drivers that are on this list have a potential winning that race and really solidifying their chances of winning the championship by doing that. Second place only getting 18 points, and then 17 points for third, and again 1 point back for every position after that. And so obviously the most favorable drivers to win the championship are going to be Hammer, Rocket Fan, or High Side, each having 5 champion points. The Only Toxic is close behind, would just need to beat them by 2 positions or 2 champion points. So winning the race would automatically win him the championship. By the way, he is the Master Division champion for season 1, so he can definitely get it done. High Side Mike, journeyman season champion. So we've got a lot of champions here already in the Race of Champions, going to duke it out. With 3 champion points, it's King Midas and Big Nick. They just need to win the race, and that will guarantee that they are going to beat everyone else in the field. And then the guys with 1 champion point each, so the guy that races in and plus Big Cajun and Flying Hillbilly, they're going to have to win the race and hopefully get these guys with more champion points a little bit further back in the field. And so it's a 100% race at Baxterville. Anything can happen, and it's going to be competitive. So good luck to everybody.